Hi, hi.
Hello. Good to see you again.
You too. It's always
Ooh,
fun.
springtime is springing. Starting
Yes, people are complaining about pollen, and when I was at
pollen and flowers.
yeah, the
Oh,
the head of 48, he was talking. I was talking to him yesterday, and I asked him how he was doing, and he said, "I got back from LA, and all of a sudden, I'm all stuffed up." He said, and I was like,
yep,
"Big
you got
change from east to
yep,
west."
North Carolina pollen. Hello, Dale
Hey,
and Jeannie. Yay.
hey,
Hi
hello. They're so
guys.
sweet.
Thanks
I
for being
appreciate them
here.
so much.
Welcome to all of our regulars. We are very happy to see you. And if you are new to the show, hi. Welcome to the channel. We're glad you're here. And if you are checking in with us for the millionth time or for the first time, please type in and say hello like Anna is doing, like
Yay,
Dale and Jeannie
Anna!
in the comment section or in the chat section. And just say hi, hello, WTF, namaste, whatever you want to type, just type in there. Let us know you're around. Let us know you can see it. You're seeing us and hearing us. We're coming to you through Facebook and through YouTube live. And in the annals of history, we will be coming to you over the air in recording on both of those channels, but also in audio on Spotify, iTunes, and their aggregates after that as well. So you can listen to us that way. Hi, Rosemarie. How you doing, sweetie? Good to see you. So keep checking in. For those of you that are entirely new to the show and don't know much about who is this Margot character and what's Iris on the other side, what's she about, you can go back. We have been doing this since September of 2020. You can go back to the very first episode, very easily found on YouTube, and Eyes of Indigo, Iris Carter. And you can see a synopsis of our credentials, our background, about where we come from, how we got here, and what qualifies us to yap about it excessively. But so feel free to enjoy learning about us there instead of introducing ourselves every single time. But for now, the show is Eyes of Indigo, and our motto is discussing weird stuff in a rational way. We love to bring things out of the dark, bring things out of the gray, and along the way, we hope to impart some coping skills as the world apparently is getting weirder and weirder and weirder. Okay.
Well, and I think, some things we approach and it's funny, and then sometimes it's weird, and sometimes it's just things that make you go, And we also, we'll start talking about something and we'll go, ooh, that would make a good show. So we're constantly making notes about future shows. But we also are open to suggestions from y'all if there's something you want to know about. And for example, Anna sent me a suggestion yesterday as we were preparing the list for April. And Anna, we're going to get to it. Not in April, but we will get to it. But it was a really interesting question, and we had discussed she's interested in like runes and spells and things like that, and we had done a couple of shows on spelling, which I sent her the links, and I found the links because
There's
I
a
went,
directory.
yes, because of the directory. It's on my website, iriscarter.com. And then when you go there, you can see Eyes of Indigo directory, and you click on it, and you can do gives you straight instructions on how to do a word search, figure out where it which show it was, and this was back like it was like our ninth and 10th shows. It was early that we did that, and I was like, holy
Wow.
cow. But I was able to go all the way when I went to YouTube, found it really quick.
Good.
But we're willing to re-explore. Just because we did a show on it in the past doesn't mean that we hit all the aspects of it, or that we can't revisit the topic for people who
2 years
maybe,
later. Yeah.
yeah, it's been 2 years. We can rehash stuff for sure. So I just want to mention that, one, for the directory, and two, we're open to suggestions. So if you have any, please, bring them on. So yeah.
We want to talk about what you guys are interested in. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you have any ideas for guest speakers too, that would be awesome. Yeah. Or
Yeah.
yeah, let's see what's available. Yeah.
Right. So this week, should I go on? Is that
This week, yes, tonight we talk about bread and
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
circuses.
Yeah. It's
Da,
an
da, da,
ancient
da, da,
quote.
da, da, da.
Ancient quote that's more relevant today than ever. And if you think about bread and circuses, what do they do for you?
Make
You
you happy, or at least feel
and
content.
yes, yes.
They make you feel
And
happy and content.
right. And then who we got? Nicole's there. Hello, Nicole. Let me
Yay!
and whoops. Yeah. And then Anna responded she's going to watch the ones I sent and she likes the directory tip. Thank you very much. And I am
Good.
trying to find I was going to show for explanation and I can't find.
All
Here's
right. So we'll talk about it for a second. Bread and circuses. What is it? There you go. It's more relevant than you might have thought. The meme she has is a drawing of the Roman governor Juvenal. And
yeah.
the phrase originates from the Roman poet, well, he was also a governor, Roman poet Juvenal, who stated that the Roman government used this method to win votes by popularity. Bread and circuses refers to the strategy of giving citizens what they want to distract those citizens from what else is really going on in the government and economy. And that's what the meme says for that one, which I found on the nose.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's exactly on the nose, explaining what the phrase comes from and what it means. Was there a second meme that also expounded really well on what it
Yes,
means
and
in different words?
and then I lost it and I don't know what I did with it. So I
They
can't find it.
reorganized. Want you to,
Yeah,
well,
little gremlin came in and took it away.
that's okay. So
Um
I'll talk about it a little bit. Back in the days of early Western society, which is where most of the U.S. culture is based in, is from somewhere in Europe and Africa. All right, are the two major countries that are the parent motherlands of this country for the immigrants. All right, not the indigenous. Good Lord, I'm going to qualify the hell out of what I'm saying before I ever get to it. All right. All right. So back in one of the major motherlands back in Europe, which was mostly dominated by Roman and Italian culture for centuries, was the practice of the Colosseum. Gladiator fighting, huge cheering crowds, extremely popular, tons of coliseums, not just in Italy, very popular source of entertainment. And gladiators go in there and fight against each other, fight against animals, fight for prizes, and to save their own lives. People had favorite gladiators. People had favorite, knights in shining armor and so on to fight for. And here's a really good illustration of it. Pop it all the way up if you don't mind, Iris.
yeah.
The meme has two gladiators fighting in combat in a coliseum, and above it says, "Now that no one buys our votes, the public has long since cast off its cares. The people that once bestowed commands, consulships, legions, and all else, now meddles no more, and longs eagerly for just two things: bread and games." And Juval wrote that: bread and games, bread and circuses. So they're saying since people no longer care about politics, they're focusing on the bread and games that they really want: food and entertainment. Back then, the snack of choice in the Coliseum was bread. Now it's beer and hot dogs and popcorn. Okay, like so. And the picture shows you, you now do the beer and hot wings and popcorn at home. You don't even have to travel to the Coliseum or the arena or the stadium for it anymore. You do it at home. And 2020 locked that down. 2020 served a lot of purposes. And here's a lovely another illustration of that between the comparison. Another meme that half of the meme is an old Coliseum and the other half of the meme is a football arena. Give them bread and circuses and they will never revolt. And the similarity from the one half of the picture to the other is scary.
Yeah.
It's go look it up if you're listening to this show on audio. To see that visual, it's a little bit taking aback.
Mm-hmm.
Which leads us to talking about bread and circuses. We talked about where it came from. It came from the Roman practice of entertaining your citizens so that they do not revolt, that they feel content, they feel bonded and happy with each other as a team. There's nothing wrong. We are the champions. My guy is winning. My team is winning. I feel good. Why would I go riot in the streets or put up a protest? I feel good about my life and who I am, right?
Yeah.
So what
and
is
you have
bread
your
and
people.
circuses now?
When you're behind a team, you've got people behind you, and so yay, you like this team, I like this team. Wee, rah rah, let's go. We are happy and we are together.
We are the champions, my friend. La da 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 da. Oh, I can go even more. We'll keep on fighting till the end. And it's a really cool song. There's We Will Rock You.
Yep.
That one. There's tons of songs that were based on that premise of us, we champions. I love you, you love me. We're the coolest, we're the best. And where I was thinking about we might go from here in the conversation is, all right, so we're talking about overviews of this subject, and we're talking about historical views of this subject. It behooves us to talk about what is this in a modern context, leading us to why should we care? Okay, why should we care about bread and circuses in a modern context? So, Iris, can you think of some more? I can think of tons of bread examples in bread and circuses, and I can think of tons of bread examples, but that's not the hard list. The hard list is, and the more interesting list, are modern circuses. Iris, what are some circuses that are happening now and have been?
Okay, well, I think this is why I don't go to circuses. I, I think we just wrapped up March Madness.
Yes.
And so when you've got at
What is March
the all the
Madness for? What is March
yeah,
Madness for people that
it's
don't know?
basketball competition for collegiate teams, and you've got different pockets or sections around the country that have their own little teams that belong. We have the ACC teams, which are like Duke and Carolina and State, and I remember it started stretching to Florida, and it was like, why is Florida in the Southern ACC? But that's a whole nother story. And then you got the Virginia
Scooping
Cavaliers.
in more circus watchers. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And so you got the ACC, you have I think it's the Big Ten that's kind of in the northern Midwest area. I know there's a Western Conference. There's all these different conferences. I'm not big in
Tons of
sports,
marketing around these conferences.
right? And
Ad
the idea,
nauseum,
like
24/7.
in the ACC, you've got people that are like, I love Duke, I love State, I love UNC or whatever, and they're going in there and they're rah-rahing and cheering, and the teams play, and they finally climb to the top and they win the ACC. Great. The winning team goes off to the NCAA, the National Collegiate Athletic Association
Sweet
basketball playoff.
16.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they play. And what was funny to me is, it used to be, I can remember the time where years ago, I was married and I said, oh, I was a Duke fan. And I said, oh, Duke lost. They're not going to go to the NCAA. And my then husband saying, well, yes, they are. And I'm like, but I thought they had to win to get there. Well, no, they did. performed so well that they send them on anyway. And I'm like, well, then what's the damn point? But it was also another way to keep
You
more
engaged.
teams and yeah, renew the interest. And okay, well,
The
they lost, but they haven't
enthusiasm.
lost. Yeah.
Maintain the citizens' enthusiasm about feeling good. Yeah.
Yes. And so they do that. And so we, and then you have the March Madness, which I thought was interesting. I just heard a discussion about March Madness on radio, and they were talking about how the guy who coined the phrase referring to the basketball thing is talking about copywriting that phrase because other people are trying to use it for other things. And I said, it's
Lewis
not where the
Carroll.
phrase originated from
Lewis
because you
Carroll did it
yeah,
first.
yeah, Madison March Hare. Hello,
Alice in
March
Wonderland, guys.
Madness.
Yeah,
And I
Mad as
was,
March Hare.
and I was like, where did but and then the
It's a
announcers were talking
distraction.
about it was like, yeah, he did do that, didn't he? And I'm like, no, he didn't. And I couldn't find their phone number fast enough to call them. I was
So what
I
are
want to
some
say
other
hi to V. Yeah.
hey there. So what are some other
Others,
circuses
yes.
that go on?
Oh, the Super Bowl
The
and
Super Bowl,
all this the Cotton Bowl and the
February,
Peach Bowl and all those bowls that lead up to this. I don't know if
Super
they
Bowl.
lead to the Super Bowl, but anyway, they have all the
They
bowl
do
games
events,
and
Sugar Bowl.
football,
Yeah, yeah.
and now you've got soccer and
Orange
all
Bowl.
those.
That's international. The soccer leagues. Yeah.
And it's growing
Clubs,
more and
soccer
more.
clubs. Yeah,
Yeah,
they call them football clubs, right?
and it's growing more in the U.S. And so,
And that's still
it's always
more of
kind of been
we win. People don't say my team won. They can. They sometimes they say we won, and that is encouraged to identify yourself, your own prowess, your own sense of success has to be tied to your favorite team. Yeah.
and you wear their things, you put their
Wear
flags
their
on the
colors.
car.
Yeah, and you have doodads and you decorate your baby in team clothes, and your dog.
Hey, my
And
daughter, when she was born, she was a preemie in the ACC. It was ACC tournament was going on, and I bought a little preemie T-shirt for her, and I cross stitched a Duke symbol on her
you gave her a
because
blue devil.
made her a Blue Devil because the nurse that was watching her was a UNC fan, and I said, I don't know if this is a good idea or a bad idea, but I'm doing it anyway.
She was a good sport.
Yeah.
All right, so March Madness, and before that, Super Bowl, and before that, holidays, New Year's, Christmas, Thanksgiving, and Halloween, all of which are hyped up with sugar consumption, candy, pies, puddings, desserts, on and on and on. Which we have,
Valentine's.
and Valentine's is in there too.
Everybody goes out
And
to dinner.
alcohol for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's Eve is strongly promoted. Guys, that's liquid sugar. What people don't see, and you can look this up, sugar is more addictive than cocaine, and it's obviously legally sanctioned. So it's easy to get to. So there's not a problem getting
4th
it.
of July.
4th of July,
Cheer for the
patriotism.
country and
Yeah, all
have your
together, all for
beer.
one. So you can roll, yeah, and religions pick up the gap too with their holidays in between that. Judaism is really good with having a holiday every couple of weeks and weekly in some cases. But there's a whole bunch of that on major entertainment. There's smaller entertainment to keep you in the loop as well. Iris, movies, feel good movies, the movie industry. It's all about walking out the door feeling connected and knowing and bonded to another concept. But you made a real good point about where the movie industry is focusing its funding and production lately.
Yeah, because of the onset of um home videos and on demand, being
Yeah.
able to watch movies on demand and all. The movie theaters are hurting. And that's why the movie theaters, you no longer have these big grand theaters. They chopped them down to like 100-seat theaters or less. And they have the recliners and they serve dinners and they'll serve you. You can order from your chair and all this stuff. They've got all these fancy ways that they've done the movie houses now where you can have dinner and a movie there, all that stuff, because the theaters are not drawing people in as much and they make their money off the food because the circus doesn't pay them, they have to pay for the films. So then Hollywood says, well, okay, the theaters can't afford to keep our movies running like they were. So rather than like where they were constantly investing in all kinds of films, now the studios are focused on the Marvel series, any of the comic book series, big, flashy, action packed movies,
Genres. Yeah.
lots of special
Scary
effects,
special effects,
explosions,
CGI,
exciting, go, go, go. Yes. People are starting to get a little too
adrenaline.
saturated with it, but a lot of independent filmmakers are finding their niche because they're making the films that they want to tell the stories,
That are
and
more
people,
cerebral.
right, and people are willing to watch those, and they can sell them to these streaming services because they're buying all they can because people are consuming so many things on TV now. So,
Saturation is a good word for that you used. Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, so that's the
Very
story of
addictive to
movies.
get hyped up on adrenaline once or twice a week on
Yeah.
movies. Yeah, especially superhero movies like Marvel and DC, like you said. Like you said, the cartoon based ones. Guys, most everybody here is over the age of 18. Ever been to a
Oh,
rock concert or a music concert? How'd you feel when you were leaving? Yep. Oh, Edie and Edie. Hey, Edie, she made a good point. How'd you feel while you were watching the Olympics? Olympics used to be every 4 years. Not anymore. They're every 2 years, winter and summer. They found a way to make it more consistent. And then, of course, there's all the world championships that lead up to the Olympics in the interim as well to keep you going. Thank you. We didn't even think about Olympics for that kind of feel good. We, us, go USA, go China, go Germany, go whatever, go Italy. And on a smaller scale, a lot of social bonding, TikTok. For us old schoolers, Facebook. Number one function on Facebook, the farming game. And that's because you work together to pull that one up. Then for people that are not so much into the internet, the old schoolers, because we've got baby boomers that are not dying off, so you still have the economy, the government, the people pulling off this bread and circuses has to pay attention to the age gap. Television programming is still important. The number one TV shows out there are game shows and live action competitions such as The Voice, America's Got Talent, British has Got Talent, shows like that.
Survivor.
And Survivor, yes. Well, what do they call those? Reality TV? And it's
No,
not.
well, not well, it is, but it isn't. But then also the reality TV shows were really big for a while. People got tired of that because they were just
They
and
saturated.
and then people found out too it was scripted
It
reality.
was all scripted. And then you've got crime and court TVs. Those are also very heavy popular. That makes people feel bonded with. See, I told you so. I knew it. Think about guys. Some of us back in the day, in the 90s, the 80s, game shows. When I say TV game show, what game shows come to mind first? What pops in your head first? And the two I was thinking of, Iris named, but guys, in the chat, type in what game show pops in your head when you hear TV game show. And then the other thing that people watch just for feel good and to feel connected and socially in balance and content are soap operas. The number one offender, Hallmark. All right, and they do the nighttime soap operas, the day soap operas, Young and the Restless, All My Children. They're still going. Some of them have newer names. Yep, Edie said them both. And then V also said it. And Jody remembered a different one.
Yeah, she was talking, but you were also mentioning that right after you said back in the 70s and stuff. So I'm sure that's because I was thinking that too.
The dating game was the older one, but the two that's popping up a lot is Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune.
Do you
Both
remember
of those games intentionally involve the audience in participating. Yeah.
Do you remember the dating game? There was one of the shows where this girl won a date with this guy, and they got together on stage and they're all smiles and all, and then she turned it down. She didn't want to go with him, and it turned out it was like Ted Bundy or somebody.
Ooh, she got a read on him.
Yeah, she backed out of it. It turned out he was a serial killer.
that doesn't surprise me. I remember because they said he was very handsome and very charming.
Yeah.
He knew how to schmooze. All right, so we're talking about what are some of the modern interpretations of bread and circuses. So the question that comes up is, Iris, do we want to talk about our slightly different views here, or do we want to talk about why it works?
Let's talk a little bit about why it works.
Okay.
And then get into the extra stuff because but this is from George Orwell. Remember 1984?
Yeah.
Football, beer, and above all gambling filled up the horizon of their minds. To keep them in control was not difficult.
Read that again, y'all. Football, beer, and gambling filled up the horizons of their minds. Keep them in control was not difficult. That's scary. I forgot about gambling. We completely overlooked Las Vegas, Mississippi, Atlantic City, and all of the all the Native American reservations.
Guess what's coming to Danville, Virginia, just over the line? Caesars, the largest gambling
casino hotels
in the U.S., if not the world. And in fact, the senior vice president's coming to. I got him to come to our school. He's going to be part of an employer panel discussion we're going to have next week.
Inviting the left and the right, the light and the dark. Iris is an equal opportunity employer.
Hey.
Whether you got horns or halo, Iris has got you back. Buy your next car from Iris.
Oh my God, yeah.
Girl, you just took a cigarette lighter on your own tail and went, whoops. I mean, for y'all to see that. She's an equal opportunity employer for sure. Watertight in this case. I can prove it now. So
he came across my desk and I went, "Ooh, you need to come to our campus."
He's a little prestige. Why not? I mean, who wouldn't? He brings a little pizzazz to the show. And you've got what he needs, which is employees that have no idea what the hell's going on.
And you have to be specially trained to be a card dealer or to work in those environments because they want things handled a certain way. You serve drinks a certain way. You handle the cards a certain way.
Security features 100%.
Yes, and keeping the customers happy.
Yes. Very happy and very unaware of how much money they're spending and that time is going by. They intentionally keep those two things off of your radar as far as they can. Absolutely.
Yes.
Keep you very, very, very happy. Edie made that comment too. Vegas has it down to a science. Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely it does. And so does Atlantic City and so do the Mississippi River boats. I don't know what city is that? Biloxi? I'm not sure. There's a famous city.
And you can take the cruises off the coast as long you get out into international waters.
Yeah, international water. We've been on a couple of those, and yeah, it's amazing how fast you lose a couple of $100 just narfing around for 15 minutes.
I used to get bored because I had a limit on how much I could lose, which wasn't very much. And so then I'd lose it, and okay, what else do I do?
There's a lot of superstition in gambling. Our friend Nella Silverspear, rest in peace. We took her. She loved gamble, and we took her out on one of those ships years ago. We took her out on one of those casino ships, and she was all for it, and she was excited, and she was being real cool, and she had her hands in her pocket, and the boat took off, and we ate a little bit on the way. They started serving food, and we ate a meal. We got out, and they opened the doors and made the announcement and turned on the lights. And she said, "Okay, y'all go your way." It was me and David. "Y'all go your way. I'm going to go my way to the blackjack table. Do not disturb me. I have my own system. Goodbye."
Wow.
Trotted over there, and we could see from the distance. Yeah, we thought it was funny. We giggled. We're like, "Sure, do what you want, whatever makes you happy." And we watched from a distance, and she was, rubbing elbows with the dealers and buttering them up and getting chummy and talking to the people around her. And she was really relaxed into it and stayed for quite a long time. And David and I ran out of money pretty quick, after about an hour or two, but we didn't want to mess her up. And so I checked in with her very quietly. I was like, "Nellie, you okay? We're still here. You just checking in with you." And she was like, "I'm fine, hun. Go away." I was like, "No problem." She said, "Hun, wait a minute. Here's a 20. Here's another 20 for David. Y'all go have some more fun." She
Wow.
sure we were.
I
She
didn't.
had
I
her
did not
system.
take it seriously enough. In fact, getting on the boat, they had the guy out there with the wand. He was wanding
Yeah.
everybody for security as they got on, and there wasn't many people around because it was just kind of straggling in. And I was with a guy, and we're walking up towards the man who with the wand, and I'm about 10 feet from him, and I just jumped with my legs spread, my arms wide, and I went, "Give me, baby, with your magic wand."
Did you see him turn 10 shades of red?
He was an African American gentleman, and I saw every shade of red go across his face. He was laughing so hard. He said, finally said, "Just go, just go."
You're a wild white woman out of my league. Just keep it moving.
And my boyfriend at the time, he goes, "She's crazy. I can't help. I can't do anything with her."
He couldn't compete with that. He just acquiesced.
Yeah.
Let
But
her have the
we
limelight.
digress. But
Yeah, because, well, that's a good example. Gambling is that consuming and fascinating to the human psyche. Um, One of the things we're talking about is, why does this work on humans? Why does bread and circuses work? We're obviously, without actually directly saying it, we're saying that bread and circuses is a distraction to stop you from noticing as a citizen what else that is very important that's happening in this country. And they tend to be sensitive topics, uncomfortable topics, scary topics that they don't want you to know about, that they're trying to manage either honorably or nefariously, but they're definitely not letting the true leaders of this nation know what's going on. We, the people. And this cartoon is an excellent example of how even the media jumps in on keeping the subterfuge going. There is a crowd of 5 people holding up picketing signs that say injustice, crime and poverty, police brutality, drugs, and listen to us. And they're obviously citizens. And they're real concerned. They're all looking down at a pile of shit at their feet that says end riots and looting. Now, sitting on top of the pile of shit is 5 little flies feasting, and they all have little name tags. One says CNN, another one says Fox News, CBS, NBC, and so on, ABC, and so on. And they're the ones feeding off of this shit to make themselves more prevalent, obviously. So what we're saying is that there is an organized effort. It's not just the government. doing that have done this to us, nay, thousands of years. This is not a new concept. It's been since Roman times and probably before then. The Romans were the first people to say it out loud. All right. So that means it's been going on for hundreds and hundreds of years before that by ruling class. You keep the underlings fat and happy. Was that the phrase you came up with?
Yes.
Iris?
Yes.
Keeping them fat and happy, bread and circuses, and see Obama in the middle of the cartoon there.
and it goes to the point that you made just a minute ago about how even the leaders aren't always in on it, because usually when the president gives a speech, who's behind him? The Speaker of the House and I can't think of who else.
Vice President.
Vice President, yeah. And notice that it's the bread and the circuses, clown and a cook sitting behind Obama, and he's got hope and change marked out on his book or his speech.
Gee, what were some of the things that Obama was known for in his administration? Legalizing marijuana. Now that was a good thing because it shot the medicine industry through the roof, natural medicine. But yeah, he did a whole. There's rumors that are being disputed that he brought down Osama bin Laden too, but now there's rumors that that may or may not have happened and that the soldiers that did it were dead within days. Just on and on. But that's treading on thin ice. Don't want to get kicked off of YouTube. Coming back. There was a lot of bread and circuses during his administration. Edie, who is, she's a psychology and human services professional. We are super easily manipulated, is Edie's comment. And trust me, she knows. Yeah, that was her profession. Iris and I, if you haven't seen our credentials, both of us are education professionals, minors in psychology. She has marketing, professional and certifications and education left and right. Yes, we can attest, and y'all, a lot of y'all do too. You can attest to the fact that humans are very easy to distract and therefore manipulate. Easiest way to do it, mess with their emotions. Make them feel good about you manipulating them, make them happy, and manipulate them through their happiness. And you will get very little, if not zero, pushback. Thus, circuses and bread.
Well, look at how on TV remember for a long time, people actually, for a while, they poked fun at Sally Struthers and the poor children in Africa because
she was fat.
It was like, well, yeah, and it was like, but also it was always showing these African children, and she would just plea, "Oh, help them!" And we love to zoom in and help people, when we get that plea. And then it was Sarah McLachlan and the dogs, all the
mangy, emaciated dogs, right?
In the arms of an
angel. Yeah.
Manipulate and tug on the heartstrings and get people behind a cause. And that brings us to, I think, what you were saying about we started having this conversation before the show, and then we said, no, we'll take it to the show. And it was a friendly debate on
what is bread and circuses. What qualifies as bread and circuses?
Right. Because there are other things that we know are distractions. And whether they are real or
staged,
contrived or staged or Manchurian Candidate type shit, who knows? But isn't it interesting that oh God, and what was the reason I said? Oh, in the past week or so, the media has been kind of quiet. There hasn't been anything major, right? The ball games ended over the weekend. And the media is just kind of quiet. And what happened yesterday?
Nashville. Boom. School shooting.
Now, what was interesting is, and I am not discounting, people lost children,
People suffer.
People suffered. People died needlessly. What I am saying is, somebody pointed out there have been like they looked up the numbers. I didn't go back and double check. I admit that. But there have been something like 150 or so school shootings since the first of the year, which means that's roughly 50 a month. And we haven't heard hardly anything until now that
About
this
one of
one
them.
about one of them. That I mean, we might have heard about one or two along the way, but to really hit the news and all of a sudden everybody's going, what's that about? If they were even mentioned before the other ones, but it's like you can ask anybody about it, and it's like everybody knows about Nashville. But how many can tell us about any of the other 150? And we
So,
hear that every year that happens. Well, there might be
mhm,
a half dozen or so that
make the news.
make the news, and so to me, it's like they're having to balance keeping they you want people to be stirred into and drawn together for a purpose.
Right.
If you tell them about too many of them, there's going to be a revolution. It has to be a
True.
mass shooting, 4 more casualties. Yeah, is what Edie says. Yes,
Four more
um,
casualties to be a mass
it
shooting.
makes a mass shooting, but
That's sad. It's gotten down to numbers. All right. So the debate is you feel that this kind of like the mass shootings, you're saying your point is that's a type of bread and circuses too? Is that
yeah,
where you're
because
going with that?
I'm wondering if it's a manipulation of the media to draw people's attention away from other things that are going on to get them
Guys,
focused.
check out the banking industry and find out what's really going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm,
Exactly. And people, and yes, I mean, and to Margot's credit, she was saying, well, bread and circuses make you happy. It's entertaining. But people also find true crime entertaining. And they find that when things happen at schools, people are drawn together and they're going, we must do something about this. And let's support, people who live nearby. They want to go and
support
support
the
the
underdog.
families and yeah, and put on their capes and be the superheroes.
And protest. And for now, gay communities, Black Lives Matter, children in schools, that are subject to guns. And there's commercials about anti-Semitism. Trying to work against people who are against Jewish people, just to get back to focus. All these things do draw people together for a common cause, which is a number one um, directive for bread and circuses, is to get people to feel teamwork. We are herd instinct animals. We are all for one and one for all by psychological design and by societal design. Interestingly, they're trying to undo that by keeping us separated, but that's a whole nother discussion. Psychologically, they want us bound together, but not physically together, which is why you are working from home, which is why you are doing pay-per-view movies instead of going to a theater or going to a rock concert out in public, because they want you to mentally feel connected, but physically be separated. So what I feel bread and circuses is because the bread element in there is nurturing. They give you bread and they give you food and entertainment. It's not just entertainment. And the way food helps us and moves this cause forward is it has a nurturing ability that helps you feel better. Again, the number one bread that's happening now is alcohol and junk food, or and sugar.
And
So
also note how US has the most obese population in the
highest con-
world.
yes, highest consumers of all those crappy things. A lot of illegal food and drugs are legal in the United States and nowhere else, and we still consume them by the ton. Yet another show. So, and back to bread and circuses, I think bread and circuses hyper focuses on make them feel good and they will be content and happy and stay home. So, this is where I think things like the similar effect, I will entirely agree that it's a similar effect that televising mass shootings suddenly or any other, Black Lives Matter rioting. J6 is another bone of contention. Fighting about the Republicans said and the Democrats said. All right. That still has a we, us, my team kind of effect to it. But it's also driving forward malcontent. It also brings in a malcontent. So I think that falls as another type of distraction. It is definitely a distraction, but another type that's separate from bread and circuses, which I think hyper focuses, and it's underlined with the bread/food consumption element, that to qualify as bread and circuses, it has to feel good. And generally
And again,
speaking,
but one of the things I was
mass
saying was,
shootings don't feel good.
but rescuing people and preventing them does.
Which I thought was an excellent point. And I said, ooh, that sounds like the secondary wave. Iris, talk about explain a little bit more about what you mean that people feel good about their reaction.
Yeah, it's like when they see it happening, and you go to the office and you talk about it with people, and you go, "Oh, did you hear about that? Yes, isn't that so sad?" And well, what are we going to do about it? Well, you know what? We need to do. Yay, right. Let's do this and let's do that, and
Donate
you know,
money and go demonstrate in the streets. Yeah.
yeah, and it and people are talking about it on the radio and on talk shows and things like that about, well, what can we do, and let's find solutions. And people want to arm teachers. No, we need to have security guards, and they have found ways that schools don't have to look like jails to keep them safe. They can keep them safe through technology and doing other things. And and how do we, and let's be creative and find new ways to keep our children safe. And why are we putting them through the
Metal
which is a whole
detectors.
other topic. Yeah, but we put them through all the test runs of, okay, this is a drill. What do you
Oh,
do?
the drills. Yeah, safety
Yeah,
drills.
they used to do it back in the day with the nuclear uh threat. Get under your
And then it
desk.
became
Yeah,
tornado drills. In my time
yeah,
in the 70s and 80s, they were tornado drills and fire drills. Yeah.
right. Which those are okay. Fire drills are okay because but you gotta have organization if you're gonna empty the building. But and kids aren't as kids are more afraid of and very aware that a shooter could come in. And like I heard a woman on the radio going that she has 4 children, and she dropped her 2 twins that were 9 years old off at school today. She told them, she said, so what do you do if you hear gunshots or if an intruder comes into school? We don't go looking for them. We hide and we stay safe. And it's like they know the routine. And it's so sad that we're having to put kids through that. And why are we doing that? Is another thing.
Because we're in the middle of World War III, and that is what you do to your children in the middle of a war, even when the rest of the country doesn't know it yet. Yeah. Sorry, just that's today's peek behind the curtain. We try to do a peek every week. Yeah, we're in the middle of World War III, guys, and there is another symptom of it to show what I'm talking about. Feel free to look into it yourself. Strongly
Mhm.
recommend do your own
And
research.
that's for all of this stuff that we present. We want, we bring it up because it's things that we've heard about or that we research and that sort of thing. But we encourage everybody, do your own research, look this stuff up for yourself. One thing I will say is, don't try to do it all on Google. Use some of the other aggregates for searching, like
Duck, duck,
DuckDuckGo, and I know
go.
there's others, but I can't
There's at
think of
least
it
three or
offhand.
four. Yeah.
Yeah, and just see. But you know, There's lots of things. Anytime I have a question and I go, something just doesn't seem right, I look it up
Follow
and I
your
find out
intuition.
what's going on. Yeah, and it's amazing. And the more I find, the more I learn, and the more I notice. So yeah, we encourage you to do your own research.
So to move this point forward, we brainstormed a little bit. When was there major bread and circuses going on in American history? And what else was going on that maybe they wouldn't want US citizens to notice? And what we came across was, and Iris had their aha that after we went on the air, what we noticed was the year 1969. In the 1969, two really cool positive events happened that even today people talk about with pride and honor and glowing hearts, and that was Woodstock and Iris
The moon landing.
walking on the moon. Yay, America.
Right.
Soviets. All right. And by the way, nobody was paying attention to what China was doing back then. So anyway,
I like what Edie said. Edie said it's my high school graduation.
yeah, the high school graduation. But guys, do you know what else was going on in 1969? Besides us being a bunch of little young guns and young studs. Well, shit, in 69, I was 2 years old. So,
Peace, not war.
yeah, who was famous for the I am not a crook? V stood for Vietnam, guys. There was shit going on with Vietnam that they did not want you to know about. They did not want us to know about. And Nixon was good at covering it up. And he shoved that stuff, and so was the CIA and the FBI, the or let's just say I already said it, 3-letter agencies put that stuff out there. We did some little bit of research. There was major technology being released to the public that year as well. Concorde jet took its maiden flight. The Boeing 747 took its maiden flight. And the giant cruise ship, the QE2, the Queen Elizabeth II, took her maiden voyage, all of which were huge, cutting edge frontline technology at that time.
And circuses.
Yep, yeah, we got to have a juggling show here. So, the technology is a secondary thing, but guys, if they were showing us those pieces of supersonic travel on a Concorde, on giant transportation on a 747, and the height of luxury travel at the time, the QE2, think Titanic and who died on the Titanic, not just ordinary people. All right, look into that. There's something about the QE2. It was high technology too. So dazzle them with diamonds, dazzle them with circus and lights and bread. What do you do on a Concorde? You relax, eat, and drink. What do you do on a Boeing 747? You relax, eat, and drink and visit and laugh. What do you do on a luxury cruise liner like the QE2? You laugh, drink, have sex, swim, and play shuffleboard and gamble all night long. These things were the height of bread and circuses at the time, but they were also cutting edge technology. And if you weren't born yesterday, you know whatever technology they're showing us now, they already knew it, and the US Navy knew it the longest, at least 40, 50 years ago, if not 100 or more. And I am not exaggerating. Mm-hmm. So 1969, if that stuff was coming out, then gee, what was happening in 1949? Feel free to go look it up. That was one of the big examples that we saw for bread and circuses, 1969. Yeah. So Iris, what is our takeaway from today's lecture? We're talking about some heavy shit here about the distraction that's going on.
I think the biggest thing is once is recognizing that distractions are out there. First of all, that was my first thing, was realizing, oh, these are distractions.
Even
These
positive
are,
things.
you
Yeah.
know, recognizing, and you're going along, and you're going, well, why is this happening? Well, God, that's happening too. That's really, why is all this stuff happening? And then realizing, oh, ding, 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 they are distractions. Then you start noticing more distractions. So it's like, and you start questioning, is this a distraction, or is it a legitimate something that happened, and
Event. Yeah.
event or whatever. And and it gives you pause to start thinking about, there's things that happen now that as soon as it happens I go, okay, what are they hiding? And I start looking in the unreported news, paying
Yes.
attention to, okay, what's coming, something is coming, and something is, they're setting us up. And so when you can recognize that stuff, you don't get sucked into the drama, because once you can realize it's
You
a
have
game,
awareness.
it's a
Yeah.
game. And again, yes, there are some things that happen that people die, and that's sad and unfortunate. And it doesn't mean that I don't feel bad for the players of the game, but it helps me to recognize the games are happening and people are set up, or they volunteer or whatever to
Correct.
be part of it. And it brings me back around to focus on what is important. What is important?
Yes.
If there are people out there that are going to create these distractions and create all this crap underneath it that they're trying to hide, and what can I do about it? It would be really easy to get down in a quagmire of self-loathing and depression and all that stuff. But instead, I go, the best thing I can do is not give that crap any energy. Don't feed into that energy, detach from it, and stay positive. If I'm taking care of me, the rest will fall in place, and it
Yes.
doesn't matter.
It's called the law of one,
Yeah.
and also the law of attraction. Absolutely. Very good. And it's okay to feel good. It's okay to feel team and herd instinct. It's okay to
Yeah.
feel bad about what happens with other people. We're talking about don't get sucked into it. Keep an eye on the big picture at
Yes.
all times. And like Iris said, heart, your intuition. Stay in touch with both. Yeah,
Yes, for sure. For
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
So as we wrap that up, we're ready to look at what's coming up.
Yes. We got a
We
fun month ahead of us again.
Yes, on April 5th, we've got verbal sunshine. And you go, "Ah, Iris, what is verbal
Herbal
sunshine?"
sunshine.
It is from a quote. Compliments are verbal sunshine. And why is it so hard for people to take a compliment?
We
So
gonna
we've
tell
got,
you.
yeah, we're going to tell you. And then April 12th is people pleasers. Are, and try and
People
yeah,
who are people pleasers do what?
they tend to not take care of themselves. They're not really,
Mm,
and coping skills and that sort of thing. So yeah.
yeah, they need more
Oh
coping skills. Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. Excuse me. And then we're going to do our psychic readings like we do once a month. And then on the 26th, it's turn up the music. Why? Because we're going to cover music reveals.
That kind of ties in a little bit with what we were talking about today.
Yes, it does. So, yeah, for
Concerts
sure.
are also held in
Studiums.
stadiums and arenas and theaters.
Yeah.
Yes, excellent tie-in. Yeah, yeah. The reveals that come with music is Woo, that's going to be fun. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm making my list.
for
So,
sure. Thank you, everyone, for coming to play. We hope you have a beautiful week, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
yeah, namaste.
Thank you for joining The Eyes of Indigo with Iris Carter and Margot Ross Sears. Music is Arcadia by Kevin MacLeod of Incomptech.com, licensed under Creative Commons. Visit our Facebook page for broadcast details at www.facebook.com/Eyes of Indigo. Show is copyright 2023 by Iris Carter and Margot Ross Sears. All rights reserved.